the garbage collection. Okay, garbage collection already there, right? So garbage collection, again, it's a simple item. There is a class A, right? So if I have a class A, and let's suppose object A, take anything, right? Int age equals to one thing, every variable, it's not related to garbage collection, but every instance variable, if you are not aware whether it should be public or not, you will mention it as a private, right? Why private? To increase the level of encapsulation. We want to hide the data, right, outside the class. So that's why the private. All right, let's move further now. Int age, let's say age is something, right? And let me initialize it, and its value is 10, and that's it. So if I simply call the runner psvm aa equals to new a, right? How can I make sure my object has been created, right? It will be in the heap memory, right? We have already seen what this variable will hold, where the memory will be there, right? So the thing is, how I can make sure that the garbage collector deletes this, and is there any way in which I can make sure that this object has been deleted? These are the two things that we will see today. For the first thing, internally, I mean, there are multiple algorithms that the garbage collector can use, and it will change with the different version of Java and different JVM provider as well. If you are using AWS Coroto, then it's different. If you are using Oracle's Java, it could be different. But the most famous one is mark and sweep, right? Our object will be marked that okay, it can be deleted, right? And we need to know when an object will be marked that it can be deleted. It will be marked when there is no variable pointing to that heap memory. All right, memory management part. See over here in the runner area, this is in the heap area, right? This object is in heap area, right? Visible? Paramita, you there?
Yes.
Yes, Abhishek.
Okay, cool. So see this this is the object in the heap, right? And my a variable is pointing to this object, right? So
Yes.
if my object stops pointing to this a object, and then if I make it point to someone else, right, new a, so a new object will be created down here, right? Let's say I don't create a new object. Let's say I point it to null. Cool. Now it's not pointing to this value, right? So now I'm saying that point to null. Cool. So now no one is pointing at this object, right?
Yes.
So the thing is, because Java does not work with pointers internally, so now there is no way for me to access this object, right? Using code. Can I access this area if I mark it as null? Can I again access this area? Even you can try it over here as well. If I make this a equals to null, is this possible for me to again point this to this object at line number 14 without using additional variable? It is not possible, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sorry. So the thing is, it's not possible. So that means if no variable, I mean it's in C also, right? Dangling pointer we call it in C. So if no object, if no reference variable, right? Let me just revert it. If no reference variable points to an object in the heap, right? So the very first thing, garbage collector only works in heap area, right? Why heap area? Because stack will be deleted on its own, right? Three memory areas we know: stack, heap, and non-heap, right? Stack will delete on its own, and non-heap area we don't want it to get deleted, right? Because the memory of the non-heap area or the static context area gets deleted or destroyed when we okay, memory is allocated during the dot class file loading, right? So memory will destroy during the dot class file unloading, right? So that means that whenever I'm trying to close the JVM or it ends abruptly, then only it will happen, right? So the static area, I don't want to delete anything in the static context area. And the static context area keeps its data into the non-heap area, right? Now only one memory is left, right? Heap area. So the garbage collector obviously have to work in the heap area only, right? Make sense? Okay, any doubt regarding this? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Abhishek.
No, no.
Okay, not audible or not clear?
Yes, you are audible, Abhishek.
Okay, cool. So the thing is, if no one is pointing to a particular object, it will be marked ready to get swept, right? And again, why, why to, why to agree with me, right? Let's see whether it will happen or not. Again, two interview questions will see from this part. So okay, so see now one thing is, we mentioned if which class is the parent class of all Java classes?
Object.
Yes. So object class is the parent class of all Java classes, right? And we mentioned that we are going to learn about each one of them, right? All the methods. So one method finalize is now obsolete, right? It has been obsolete till ninth version, right? But the thing is, we are still going to use it, right? Because we are not using it in production environment, so we are going to use it. And what the finally keyword, I mean method do? It ask, I mean it ask the is it's going to ask the garbage collector to to execute this method when he's destroying the object, right? So what I'm going to say that a object is being destroyed by gc means garbage collector. Cool. So let's try to run this code right now. So we can see that nothing has happened, right? Because before garbage collector can work, my system has been, I mean the entire code has been computed, right? So before garbage collector can work, my entire code was shut down, right? So what I can do, I can stop it, right? How can I stop it? I can use thread.sleep. What it do, what it can do, we'll see later on in the thread session, right? And then we need to handle the exception also, right? But again, because we haven't completed it, I'm going to use, okay, why okay, I guess I don't have it in my, wait 1 second, let me just confirm one thing. Okay, okay, okay. My palm does not has a lot of things. Cool. So am I not even using? Okay, cool. My bad. Okay, just give me 1 second. Da, da, da. I'm adding the Lombok dependency in my project. So dependencies. This is Maven, right? This is not Java. This is Maven. This is not a part of Java. Okay. All right. Okay. It's saying missing. Lombok is missing. Version. Okay, my bad. Okay, let me stop the recording as well for a while. This thing you know don't need to know. This is of the Lombok and the Spring. I mean the Maven. All right. So recording is on, I guess. So let me just remove this as well. So I have just added one thing. I have just added a Lombok dependency, and it has a sneaky throws. So I don't have to handle the exception that has been thrown by this line, right? And we also haven't completed the exception handling, so it does not make sense to add multiple lines, right? Try and catch or something else. So I'm using sneaky throws. Never write this sneaky throws in the production environment if you want to copy. All right, cool. Now I will make sure that for 3 seconds my system don't get closed, right? So it will keep the system awake for 3 seconds, right? 1, 2, and 3. See over here, now it has been closed, right, after 3 seconds. Still nothing happened, right? Still this thing, finalize method has not been called, right? So that means my garbage collector is not working, right? Or maybe I'm lying, right? So there is a interview question, what is system.gc? All right, what is system.gc? System.gc, by calling the system.gc we can request the garbage collector, and I'm repeating again, we can only request the garbage collector to start the work, and only if the garbage collectors find its right time to execute or to start the garbage collection, then only it will start, right? It does not mean if you call the system.gc and garbage collection will start automatically at that time, right? It's not a simple method call. You are requesting it, right? Even you can go inside and read about it, right? So calling garbage method suggests that the Java virtual machine expend the effort toward the recycling of unused object in order to make memory that they are currently occupying, right, for use by the Java virtual machine. You can read it completely if you want. So system.gc. So anyone if asked that what is system.gc, so first thing it's asking garbage collector, right? GC is garbage collection, first thing. And what system.gc do? It requests the garbage collector to expend its effort towards the garbage collection, right? But it depends on garbage collection internal mechanism that will be provided by the JVM vendor, how it's going to handle, right? You cannot make sure that if you call the system.gc it will accept your request, right? You can only request. Cool. Now try to run, right, without this. Now try to run without the system.gc, right? Now if I run it, see again nothing, right? Because I'm not waiting for any time, right? Or it might be and now if I wait for 3 seconds, then also nothing is happening, right? What's the reason? The reason is one reference variable is still pointing to the object in the heap. I need to make sure now this object that I have created at line number 11, no one is pointing to this object, right? So now if I run this, a object being destroyed by GC. Cool. If you don't mark it, if you don't make that object, if no one is pointing to that object, if my bad, if any reference variable is pointing to that object, the garbage collection won't delete it, right? Because it is not marked to be swept. If I mark this thing null, so now no object is pointing to this, no reference variable is pointing to this object in the heap. And because in Java we don't work with the pointers, so there is no way for us to work with this object again. So this object will be marked for garbage collection, and then I'm requesting garbage collector to expend its effort towards a garbage collection, and then I'm waiting for it for 3 seconds also. So that's why when I run this, then this method is being called, right? And I'm not calling this method, right, from anywhere. This method is being called by GC only. Cool. There is no direct method call, right? I'm not calling from here. This method is of only 4 lines, right? And we are not calling it. Clear? So the one thing is now over here there are 2 questions. Now nobody is going to ask you about the finalize method. Still some people ask finalize versus final, and now you know about finalize method. First in the finalize it will be this method, right? Finalize method will be called by the garbage collection, or it will be called after the object has been deleted, right? Before the completion of deletion, this thing will be called. So if you want to do something before object is being destroyed, then you can write that code over here, right? But as this method has been this method has been deprecated, so now you don't have to use it. So I hope that nobody is going to ask you this question, but still final versus finalize was a question back then in the time. All right, so this is the one thing. Another thing, how garbage collectors works, it will mark the object to get collected by the garbage collector. And how it will mark, the algorithm name is mark and sweep. It will mark the object, and when the garbage collector will go, it will sweep the object, right? So it's called mark and sweep. So how it will mark? It will mark based on if no reference variable is pointing to an object, that's when it's going to mark the object to get deleted. And why? Because the thing is, we don't work with the pointers in Java, so if no variable, no reference variable is pointing to that object, there is no way in Java we can access that variable again. And if we cannot access that variable again, why we should waste our memory to hold that object, right? And then what is garbage.system.gc? System.gc is a method provided by the Java to request the garbage collector to expand its efforts towards the recycling of effort or the garbage collection. But it depends on the garbage collector that whether it accepts your request or not. All right. Any doubts? Anyone? Okay. Okay. So there is one more thing. But the thing is, see, if I do, okay, so let's write finalize method and site. So if I run it again, so the finalize method ends is printed, right? But the thing is, again, because the finalize keyword is obsolete, I don't think anyone is going to ask this question, but still I have to tell you this. That if I try to make any exception, if I try to throw any exceptions, right, I can directly throw the exception as well, but I can do this throw new and then exception as well, but I can create the exception the way it happens also, like int sum equals to 10 divided by 0, right? 10 divided by 0 is arithmetic exception, right? Because if I divide anything with a 0, it will be infinity, right? So if this line I just copy paste and put in, okay, okay, in runner, and I make it the very first line, and if I try to run this, I will get the exception, right? We are going to cover this in the exception handling class. But the thing is, you will see over here at line number 11 there was an error, right? And nothing else was nothing else is going to be printed, like line 12. If I run this again, line 12 is not printed, right? So now the thing is, this line throws an exception, right? And nothing is printed after that, right? So if I copy paste this line and put inside the finalize method and over here, right? And if I come back to this in A's class, okay, my bad, in runner, and after system.gc in 3 seconds I print one more thing, system out main method ends. Cool. Now if I do this, now what the flow usually I mean during the normal exception handling, but what should be the case, because we don't know now the exception handling. So the flow should be like, we start from the runner, right? Basic thing. So we'll okay, so we'll create an object, we'll ask the garbage collector to clean the garbage, and then we are going to execute this line, right? And by this line, at line number 10 there should be an error and nothing after that should be printed, right? So line number 11 and also the line number 18 should not get printed, right? But if I run this thing, main method inside, only the next line, line number 11 has not been printed, right? And also we haven't seen the error that we were seeing last time, right? If I just copy paste it again and put in the runner very first line, then we haven't get any exception object, right? And the reason is inside the finalize keyword, because we are destroying the object, no exception object will be entertained by JVM. Cool. We will see later on, I mean, what does it mean? I mean, we create an object and submit it to the JVM, and it's a throwable object, we have to provide it to the JVM. That's when this thing happens. So cause this object is being deleted and we are doing the cleaning task right now, so any exception if happens, then see line number this does not I mean executed, right? In the normal flow. Let me just remove, okay, let me just run it again. So you can see the line number, see finalize method ends is not printed, right? So exception does arise from here, right? But only the execution of this methods halted, then again control flow backs to here and then this thing executed because it was waiting, right? After 3 seconds this happened. So in finalize method, no exception handling will be entertained by the JVM. This was a trick question used to exist earlier, but now it does not make sense because after Java 9 the finalize method has been deprecated, so no one is using it. Cool. But it just I have to tell you, because if you try to work with it and you don't find the exception, then you will freak out. All right, so today we have covered two topics. One is final keyword and another one is garbage collection. Anyone, any doubts till now? And I also want to know whether you are up for another topic as well.